Database, huge. You're nothing without your database, you guys. It's so critically important. Make sure that you have a database that's in the cloud. I would say make sure that you choose a database that didn't just come out last week. Free databases are dangerous. How is that company making money to stay in business? And if they go out of business, are you going to have to import your 2,500 or 25,000 contacts into another database? All of these things are crucial. If you start your database from day one, you're gonna be so much more successful and you're gonna have so many more options in life. Like every time Zillow or Trulia calls me, I'm like, I've got 25,000 people in my database. I just need to get off my hump and call them. I don't need your leads. Like, you know, I've got a ton. It's just about watering the database and making those people come out of the woodwork, so to speak. I use Top Producer. That one is, I believe it's $29 a month. If you want to add an assistant to it, I think that's another $19 a month. But Top Producer is a database that's designed for real estate agents. They initiated in Canada, and they've been around since I was a real estate agent and even before then. So they're constantly improving. Like they obviously, like once social media came into play, now you can connect with people on social media through there. You can see their social media posts and profile, all these types of things. You can schedule appointments, you can schedule email campaigns. So you could literally be writing an email campaign right now as a student to, you know, help these first-time buyers along in the process. And as soon as you get these potential first-time buyers or buyers, then you turn around and put them on this email campaign that sends them an email every 2 weeks for God knows how long until they finally buy something. And you know, don't assume that the emails are always going to generate a call to you. Like it's good for you to proactively call them if you have their phone number, but there's a lot of other things that, you know, you can do to get them to come out of the woodwork email wise. You know, you send the right email and you'll get the reply. And don't think just because they ignore 10 of your emails that they're going to ignore number 11. That's the thing about real estate. People don't need you until they need you, and then they need you right now. So for example, and this totally roundabout referral from my boyfriend's aunt who is in Nashville, Tennessee, talking to some other lady, and the lady's like, oh yeah, my father-in-law owns a property in Newport Beach, and you know, she's like, oh, I own property in Orange County too. And you know, the lady was expressing her discontent at the fact that he is, you know, going downhill with his dementia, and that they're going to have to sell the property soon and they don't have a real estate agent. So I literally get referred from Tennessee, this potential seller, and by the way, father-in-law lives, jackpot, on the canal in Newport with a boat dock. So that's an awesome potential listing for us, and it will all happen like through referral. And his aunt wouldn't have referred me if she wasn't on my investor email list and getting those investor emails that I send out every once in a while. She wouldn't have that perception because we didn't have enough conversations for her to necessarily trust me as a real estate agent besides what was happening via email and a couple of conversations. So those things, and those people, I met with them in April. They didn't need anything at that point in time. You know, father-in-law was declining in his health, but was not to the point yet. So then this morning I get the call and they're like, Angie, we want you to come over. We want you to bring us comps. We want you to bring us all these resources, blah, blah, blah. It's almost time to go. So literally 6 months later, how many emails and phone calls did they ignore from me in that 6 months? At least 4, 5, 6. But do I stop? No. Like one of the things my broker said, buy or die. You know, they leave the database when they die or when they buy. But when they buy, they just change a contact type to a seller or an investor at that point. So keep working your leads. Don't judge your leads. Like that's another thing. Like an internet lead will come to you, like those Trulia leads, they're like email address only. I want this info only. Well, it's up to you, and this is where you come and you decide whether you're an order taker real estate agent, and there's 1,000 bazillion of them out there, or whether you're an actual, you know, salesperson that can create a deal. So you can earn somebody's phone number, or you can earn somebody's, more than their email address. You can earn their address. So let me tell you a quick way that I do that. Is anybody that I only have an email address for, I send an email to and I say, I have this great book that will change your life if you follow its principles in real estate. I'd like to mail it to you. Please let me know what your address is, and then I will send you a free copy. So then I generate an address out of them. Kendrick will tell you, once you have an address for somebody, then you can go into Realist and you can search and see, okay, how many properties does this person own, and do they own the property at that address? So now I know if I'm working with a renter or I'm working with an owner. There's a lot of different ways that you can strategically earn their information, but you've got to earn it. Like, you can't just be like, why aren't they calling me? Are you doing anything to be of value to them? Because we're a dime a dozen as real estate agents and mortgage lenders, like totally a dime a dozen. So you have to earn the rest of the contact info. And one of the things that, is part of Trisha's job in the beginning is to change people in my database. I will rate them for, like, they're a buyer A if I've got their address, their phone number, and their email. They're a buyer B if I have only two of the three, and they're a buyer C if I just have one of the three. So part of her job is to help earn, the rest of the contact info and moving people from C buyers to B buyers to A buyers and then to pre-approved buyers. And then, because they go through the cycle. And I can tell you with internet marketing, you're not going to get it all up front at once, except for if you're dealing with seniors. Then they just give you the whole kit caboodle on your form. Gotta love them. So yes, your database, crucially important. Make sure it can email out. Make sure that it's not day one of that company. And then also, working virtually. Like, you guys, there's different ways that real estate agents can work. I highly recommend to live in digital land. You'll be able to have the lifestyle that you want, more than likely, where you can go places and do things and all of that. Because one of the things that I couldn't stand from working with previous real estate agents before I became one myself is, I gotta wait until I get back to the office and I can draw that up or whatever. Like, that's not an excuse anymore. You realize they can pick up the phone and somebody else can draw that up immediately. So you wanna be able to be on the ball when it comes to your technology. If somebody tells me they need to write an offer, my laptop's in my purse, boom, hotspot on my phone, done. I need about 20 minutes. Like, I don't need to, here I can't get internet at the college, boo. But, anywhere else, like, you just basically turn on your hotspot and you're good to go. And it's really important that you have that, because then you turn around and somebody in your transaction, the listing agent or the buyer's agent, whatever other side you're working on, they're like, I need this document. Rather than, I have to go back to my file, I have to find the document. No, you don't. You have a Google Drive folder with all of the files from that transaction in it, and you can easily access all of it. And hey, while we're at it, why don't we just share it with the other side, so that when they're disorganized and they lose all their info, they've got the info to get into where they need to go. I highly recommend using Google Drive or some type of cloud based storage for your files. Make sure that it's all password protected, all of that super sensitive information that you have in there, but make sure that you're using, and Google Drive is pretty much free. Well, it'll be free for your first few years. Like, I just had to start paying them because I've got all the storage filled up, but it's $2 a month. It's affordable. So make sure that you've got something going on there. I would recommend you guys to have a phone system. Make sure phone is important, because then, what happens if Angie wants to take the day off and I want to route all my calls to Trisha? Like, it's not as easy just do it from your cell phone, but if you have a phone system, very easy to turn around and route your calls to your transaction coordinator or to whoever, or, if you have a listing that you're working with another agent on and that's your buyer's agent, you can send them in that direction, and that's definitely important as well. Hootsuite, have you guys heard of Hootsuite? It's basically a way that you can post to LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter all at once, and you can schedule them while you're at it. Because I don't know about you guys, but my brilliant posts come up to me at like 11 o'clock at night or 1 in the morning, but when everybody's sleeping. So you can utilize Hootsuite to schedule posts for our antisocial people. That, that's a great platform, because you don't have to go get in all the mix of, Facebook or Twitter or any of that to schedule out your proactive posts. Top producers, the database. For email marketing, I use two things. Stephen Thomas offers reports on housing for Orange County. He's $100 a year. He will make you sound so intelligent if you just read his reports and forward them along. Highly recommend that. If you can buy it at reportsonhousing.com. It's just so you can be a step ahead of your clients and know what's going on, you know, in the industry, so that you can report back to them appropriately. And it's funny because I notice things because I'm working daily in the business and I see this trend, and then I get Steven's email about what's going on trending wise, and sure enough, he's got that mentioned in there. And it's like, okay, well, it's just, you know, it also helps to reinforce you that you're advising your clients in the right direction. There is a site called canva.com if you want to make really killer Facebook and Instagram headers or graphics or
even our
sponsored
flyers.
ads. Yeah, flyers too. Canva.com lets you do that. And then let's see here. Facebook ads are definitely important. So I'm just going to talk for about a couple more minutes on executing deals and things that are important, and then I want to bring Trisha up to talk about how things, you know, go the very first year in real estate. But once you get all your marketing done and all that, now it's time to actually start doing some deals. So basically, I can't say this enough, but watch your ego, you guys. Like, us as agents kill so many deals by being right. Like, one of the things my business coach taught me is, do you want to do the deal or do you want to be right? Because sometimes both of those aren't happening. And really, remember, it's not about you, it's about your clients. So do your clients want this deal? Then who cares if you're right or wrong? It's your job to help your clients get the deal. Watch your ego. You're gonna be working with some other jerk-offs in the industry, I'm just gonna tell you. And that's, you know, you have to be careful not to give your clients a bad experience just because you're having one. It's your job to uphold yourself as a professional in all these matters. So if the other agent on the other side is a jerk off, that's okay. You still keep it classy. You still close the deal. That's your job, you know. And don't call your client complaining about what a jerk off the other agent is. Like, it just happens in this industry. So then that's another thing that I say too. Maybe they're a jerk off, or maybe they just are incompetent. Maybe it's literally their first deal. So that's another thing. Be committed to doing both sides of the deal for your client's sake. If your clients want this property and the other agent doesn't know what they're doing, so what? Take the other agent and make them close. Like, you can do their side of the deal. A lot of being a real estate agent is being a grown-up babysitter, is a transaction coordinator doing their job, is escrow doing their job, did the termite guy do their job? You know, so watch the other side and make sure that that deal closes if that's your client's desire. Be committed to doing both sides for the sake of your client. And then also always look for win-win negotiations. Like, book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People talks about that. Look for that. And then another thing that I wanted to tell you guys before I send Trish up is, I don't get why other agents don't do this, but you should have an amount in your head to buy the deal closed. And this is this is when I went from closing like 5 deals a year to closing double-digit deals a year, is when I was willing to buy the deal closed. And I'm not saying discount your commission from the beginning. That's actually the opposite of what I'm saying. I'm saying hold yourself to a standard of, you know, if it's a listing, you're taking, you know, at least 5%, so that if something happens later on in the deal and the escrow, that you have a little bit of padding that you can keep the deal together. Because a lot of times what happens is buyer and seller butt heads over like $500 to $1,500. And you do not want a deal to fall apart over $500 to $1,500. It is going to cost you more to put that buyer back in the car or remarket that listing once it's stale and sour than it is for you to buy the deal closed. So every single time I've got at least, and it depends on the purchase price, of course. Like, if it's a $100,000 listing, like, you can't give your whole commission. But usually at any point in time, I have at least $500 to $2,500 in the back of my mind that I am willing to pay to buy that deal closed. If anything goes nuts with the repairs, or if people start to go sideways and, disagree with each other, you can offer as an agent to say, hey, you know, why don't we split this 4 ways? I'll call the buyer's agent, and you come, you know, you pay 1/4, I'll pay 1/4, they'll pay 1/4, and the other party will pay 1/4. This is an all-win situation because somebody wants to sell the property, somebody wants to buy the property, and you need to get on to the next deal. So be careful about like letting deals fall apart once they're in escrow. And escrow is not easy to come by. So treat it carefully and know that you have that capability with your commission that you can buy deals closed. I can't tell you enough how important it is. And then your clients turn around and respect you and love you because they know not only are you fighting for their best interest, but you're literally willing to put skin in the game for them. Okay, hopefully that helps. We'll bring Trish up to talk about.
Any questions for Angie before we bring up Trish though?
Well, why don't we take questions at the very end, both of us? Does that work or no? Yeah.
You want to do that?
What's best for you guys?
That's fine.
Questions at the end. Okay.
We have the credit report.
Let me
Okay.
use the
John just
computer.
sent us breaking. Oh, I didn't
Thank you.
need it. I just needed a number for a client.
Oh,
Sorry, I didn't have internet.
It's working.
Always working. Okay, so
wait,
I'm.
let me make this introduction real quick. This is my
You're
former
so
student from Fullerton College. She took my property management class, and
Just property management.
is that it? Really? And we've
I
been
took my
closing.
other one with what's her face? Your mentor.
Oh, okay. Alright. I felt like we had many classes. I mean, she was my former student, and she came into class like you, where you're sitting, and she brought me coffee, and she told
Easiest
me.
way to get extra credit. I don't know if he still does extra credit. Just say no venti
What?
mocha
You
fraps.
get credit for coffee?
She told
He was
me.
still a newbie.
She told me.
Closers.
She told me, Professor, do you got any references for Texas and Vegas? Because I'm gonna move away, and I'll probably do my real estate there. So I thought nothing of it, and out of the blue, she said, I changed my mind. I think I want to work here. Do you have any suggestions? So I was thinking of Angie and YPN. This is the Young Professionals Networking Group. And we went to the home builder, and she wasn't even going to go.
I was running late. I was stuck on the toll road, and I was like,
She
I
thought-
don't have fast track. Oh my god.
She said, no, I'm not going to go. But I'm glad she did because she met with Angie, and they connected real well, and they started talking. And before she even got her license, she started working for her because Angie also owns an internet company. So she went from the bottom to the top as her assistant. And when she got in the field, she learned a lot. And she tells me all the time, thank you very much for introducing me to Angie. And I'm glad. And she's one of my students that I could 100% say is one of my successful students.
Oh, thanks.
She really is. And especially when she bought me gin, and I was surprised. Korean barbecue isn't cheap.
Oh yeah, it's his favorite.
And she
Just
bought
like
me that,
I
and I
get
said,
his
okay,
good graces.
you're coming up in this world. That's great. I don't have to buy you food
That was
anymore.
$15. Wasn't
Right?
that
Be
bad.
surprised how far a nice lunch or dinner goes when you're trying to choose.
Exactly.
But she's a great person, and even though she's been in the industry for years, she could give you lots of tips, right? Lots of tips, and
Yeah, don't do my mess ups.
call her, text her. You know, she'll give out her information. If not, I will, because I need you to mentor them, right?
Okay.
I'll let Angie. You do
Whatever
that.
my name is, I do answer to Angie as well. As long as you call me to dinner, I'm okay. No, I'm Trisha. You guys can call me Trish. I was in Kendrick's class, and I went ahead and wanted to get in the industry when I was 19. My neighbors were selling their house, went out of town, and was like, here's the keys, you're watching the house. And I was like, all right, cool, I'm 19, I'm gonna go party. So they ended up, the listing agent, or no, the buyer's agent didn't know how to get in with the super rep. It looked like he was a new agent and didn't know anything, so I let them in and everything, showed them the house, told them all about it since I lived there next door my entire life, got them to put an offer in right away. And I was like, sweet, I'm sold. I'm getting in the business. Well, then life happened and I got a real job and I was like, forget school. I don't need to go to school to learn. So, long story short, I went ahead and got back into real estate, took a class with Kendrick's mentor. Didn't think I was gonna pass that class due to an accident and personal things that were going on that I had. For whatever reason, my friend like convinced me. She's like, you need to do one more semester. And I was like, fine. I'll take this property management class. It's completely and utterly full. Hopefully I'll get it, and fingers crossed. Kid you not, every entire chair in the classroom was full. People standing in the back, and I was like, I'm not getting this class. There's no way. There goes real estate. Kendrick let us all in, and I stayed throughout. And he's like, okay, extra credit to go to all these events as long as I see you there. Go ahead and go. So like he said, I wasn't gonna go to the YPN event. And then I made it, we hung out. He introduces me to Angie, and I didn't know she was the guest speaker. She was like the speaker that day, and I had no idea. So we were talking and everything, and next thing I know, Kendrick's like, hey Angie, Trish needs a job. And I was like, you're a jerk. But I'm so glad he did. I've learned so much from Angie and Kendrick both. They're both like my older brother and sister now. I've done so much the wrong way in going about taking the test and paying for my license and everything. But at the end of the day, I'm glad that I didn't do it at 19 and I waited until I was older, because now I actually appreciate stuff, and now I know I'm ready to go into real estate. I went ahead and I took the test, I applied for the test because, as you guys know, you have to take all the classes and whatnot. I went ahead and finally passed the test, but I did my background. How did I do it? I did like the background check first. I did it completely and utterly out of order, where I didn't think I was gonna get my license for like 6 months because they had to backtrack and whatnot. But long story short, I ended up getting it done faster than the other people that took the test the exact same time I did. Moral of the story is though, make sure you like know exactly what you're doing and who to connect with. But did you guys happen to have any questions? Because I'm like completely off topic because
I
I'm
have a
getting
question
emails
for
now.
you.
Right.
What's
My
up?
former student.
What's up?
Now, during class,
best
I mean,
professor.
does it
He
apply?
is.
Did it apply to everything I said in class, like when you're out in the real world, like what to look for, who to connect with? Did some of the things apply, or was it like, was that
To an
BSing you?
extent, like honestly, regarding the test, because I was already an assistant for what, 6 months?
Yeah. Almost
For about like
8. Yeah.
yeah, for quite a while before I took the test. I had such a hard time with the test because real world real estate is not the test. So I know everything I could do legally as an assistant, but that's not what they tell you like in the real world, where I won't get either one of us in trouble and whatnot. But on the test, it's completely different. And they try to trick you. Also on the test, one of my former classmates, his other former student, just tried to take her test a few months ago, and she's like, oh, I didn't know I was taking the broker's test. I thought I was just taking the salesperson's test. Because in it refers to you as a broker. So just a little tip, they're talking about you more than likely during your test.
When it comes to taking the test, you guys just pay for the weekend crash course and take the test and pass it. Like my assistant before, Trisha, did not heed my advice. She studied for hours and hours and hours and didn't pass it 3 times. So I took the crash course, I passed it the first time. 50% of agents don't pass it the first time, but if there was something of real value that you learn from the test, I would say go ahead and study. But honestly, there's nothing that I've implemented that I answered on that test that I've implemented in my daily life as a real estate agent. Just pass it and move on.
So Trisha, what's it like in your first year in real estate?
I love it.
You love it?
I still love it every day.
How do you
Even
deal
with
with
the
your,
crazy people.
How do you deal with your emotional pitfalls? Like sometimes you don't want to do it. How do you push yourself?
talk to Angie or you, make you take me to Jen.
Right.
So guys, don't call me to take you to Jen so I can push you. Just call Andy.
Right.
That's your kid.
Exactly.
But he's like my older brother now. Like,
He's my uncle.
well, see? That's even worse.
I told you not to say that. We're not family and clan.
Are you a mama as well?
Is there any other questions for Trisha? I mean, ask away. Nothing's too personal.
Yeah, honestly, like, you can ask me anything. I'm very open and honest.
Did you also take the weekend crash course?
I did. So what happened was I took 2 of my classes at Fullerton College and did those. And then Angie's awesome, and I was stressing, and it was between Kendrick and Angie. Kept on like, why are you gonna wait till next semester to take your last test? Like, Angie's like, I'll just go ahead and pay for your extra class at this school. So I went ahead and took it. And then with that schooling that I did, I got the crash course already. Took me 3 times before I passed the test. Passed it on my 3rd time. But it's because I was already an assistant for so long and already in the industry that I was getting confused with the real world and the test. Plus I had like other stresses and whatnot that kept me from becoming an agent sooner rather than later.
Don't feel bad if you don't pass a test, you guys.
Oh,
It's
no.
nothing to do
Like,
with your
I'm
career.
horrible at
So
taking
what?
tests
Just
anyways.
keep taking it until you pass it.
What's up?
So do you feel your time in the real world didn't help you passing tests?
Yes and no, because it's different. The test is written as a test. Like, it's not real world stuff, just like Angie said. You don't actually implement everything it tells you, if that makes sense.
The test usually just tests the theory, right?
Exactly.
And then in practice, has nothing to do with practice. So if you pass the exam, doesn't mean that, oh good, I'm gonna be a good real estate agent.
Yeah, that means nothing.
True
And when they
story.
tell
It means
you,
nothing, it's 2 different things.
like after you take the test, they'll give you your score and go ahead, and if you fail, they'll give you your score and tell you what you need to work on. The second time I took it, I missed it by 1 point. So mad. And that's when he took me to Jen. Because he felt bad. And then the time after that, it just said that I passed. So I don't know what I passed by, but does it really matter? I passed. So, exactly, as long as you pass.
Clients
And then you had a question.
Yeah, do they, like, you did several times, so is it the same questions comes each time?
No, they have about, 6 different versions, I think? 6, something like that. They
5
have
or
quite a few
6,
different
yeah.
versions of it. So you never know if you're gonna get the exact same one.
How long is the test? Just curious.
As long as essentially you have, I think they give you like 2 hours max, but whenever you're done, you're done. And if you go to the bathroom during the test, it takes away, like you don't get added time. Everybody gets there, say your test time's at 8 o'clock in the morning, everybody gets from 8 to 10 or whatever they do. And if you go to the bathroom, that's on you.
Is it online or?
No.
Oh, sorry, I'm asking.
It's in person.
It
No,
is-
you're fine.
Tests are online.
Okay.
Some of it is computerized, some locations are not, but La Palma is computerized.
Yeah, I did it in La Palma, and I did it, like, you sit at a desk, and then you have a little whiteboard. Oh, and this is another thing that they did. So at the school that I did my crash course at, they had us do this, a little t-shirt. So you go like this, and you write 1 check and 2 checks. Go ahead and you read the test all the way through, and you answer all the ones you know for sure. If you semi-know, you go ahead and write, say it's question number 1, you're like, all right, it's between 2, not completely sure. And then for the ones that you're like, okay, I have no freaking idea, you go ahead and write whatever number that is. So you read through the test once, then you go ahead and you answer all the ones you know. Read through it again, and you go and only look at the ones that you have in your first check mark list. Then you go ahead, and after you answer all those, you go ahead and read it through again, and you do your second checks. By that point, you should already have more than enough points that you already passed. And do not second guess yourself, because that was my problem. Because I thought I would be cool. I was like, oh, I think I know this one, but I'm not 100% sure. So I went ahead and made another one, which was the question mark. And that's where I messed up. So don't do that.
Go with your gut.
Exactly.
Go with your gut.
It won't lead you wrong.
Hey Trisha, can you put your social media information for the students if they want to connect with you?
I don't even know anyone. I have two. I have a personal
If
account.
you're my Facebook friend, you can find Trisha and Angie. You can add them through there if you like.
I have two Facebook accounts. One personal and one for business. And it's because I have nieces and nephews and little cousins in my family that I'm very close to that I post pictures of on my family one. But on my work one that I use for marketing and like networking, I'll add anybody and everybody. I don't know you. I'm not gonna post my babies on there. That's just me personally. Completely your call. Angie just has one Facebook. She thinks I'm crazy for having two. It's just
all about the transparency.
I just feel more comfortable knowing, since they're not actually my kids, even though I think of them as my kids, that I'm somewhat protecting them, if that makes sense.
Yep.
But you can find me on Facebook at Trisha Long. Either one, like I said, or Kendrick said, I'm friends with him. My Instagram is,
Friskies.
it's, oh, there's no.
It's
It's me, Trish, and then I think that's also my Twitter, and then my LinkedIn is just Trisha Long.
Let's give her a hand, guys. Guys, there's a couple of announcements, all right? This is the address to the Citrus Valley Association of Realtors. You head there now, you'll be there like in 5 minutes. I'm heading there right now too. If you got any more questions, you could get their business card or information, phone number, and you can pop it into. Other than that, I will see you at the Citrus Valley.